Hi ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Neville. Welcome to Neville Media Inc. If it's your first time, thank you very much and welcome. And without any waste of time, let's get to today's video. This week's major breaking news would be none other than that of Shamila Batohi. Shamila Batohi, the woman who was the head of the NPA and the woman who was once praised for saving that was going to save the justice system of South Africa, right? And it has been revealed that she was not the favorite candidate for the job. The job was reserved for someone from Eastern Cape who eventually didn't get that job because there was a 45-minute phone call that happened between two political heavyweights, and the rest is history. The guy didn't get the job, and then Shamila Batohi was selected, and that's how she got the job. According to reports, the best candidate for the job was someone from Eastern Cape. But because of that 45-minute phone call that happened between two people, political heavyweights, the guy from the Eastern Cape didn't get the job that he was supposed to get. And looking at how everything transpired is that Shamila Batohi was not the first candidate on the shortlist. She was not the first candidate, she was not the second, but she was the third on the list. But somehow there was a phone call that was made, two political heavyweights, and then Shamila Batohi got the job and the guy didn't get the job. And that phone call wasn't about justice. The only thing I can say is that that phone call was about control, it was about revenge, and it was about loyalty. And behind closed doors, a deal was struck, and Shamila Batohi was elected, and she became the face of South Africa's new dawn, if you put it like that. And there were news that Shamila Batohi, as she was elected for this job to become the head of the NPA, the only mission that she was hired to do this job was to do one thing: get rid of Julius Malema and Floyd Shivambu within 1 year and prosecute them for the mess that ended up happening there at VBS Bank. So if you look at this, you can see this is a political hit disguised as a job. And then that's how all these things happened, because when the justice system became a bargaining chip, it was no longer about the law, it was about leverage. And if you remember correctly, in 2019, Ramaphosa sold us a fairy tale about this woman, that she was going to fix the state capture and those things never happened. And what do we get in return? 6 years later, the NPA is a dumpster, because the high-profile cases that we have in the country right now, criminals are walking free and the cases are collapsing like a wet cardboard. Now ask yourself, what is happening inside that South Africa's legal powerful office in the country right now? Now here's what she's saying. She's saying that the NPA is infiltrated or has been infiltrated. But then after saying that, she retracted that statement very quickly, and we are still talking about the very same woman, Shamila Batohi. The reason she retracted that statement is that if she had exposed the names of the people that were involved in infiltrating the system, it would have exposed the names, and we needed names. Remember, Unhlanhla Mkhwanazi didn't just make allegations, he dropped names. Shamila Batohi came and then she says the system is infiltrated, but she's not giving us any names. And I remember at some point, Julius Malema grilled her on that point. And if you ask me, the only suspicion I can have is that those people who infiltrated the NPA would be none other than the Guptas, would be none other than the ANC old veterans, and of course some offshore brokers that are not in the country right now, but they are pulling strings from wherever they are, controlling the country through a remote. And Shamila Batohi was the perfect candidate to pull the job, because she would be obeying the orders that were made ukuthi get rid of these individuals and do this with the system, and the system has collapsed. It's almost a decade since the Guptas left the country, and the damage that they've made, they have not yet accounted for the things that they have done in the country. And what does the NPA do? They blame the paperwork delays and diplomatic hurdles. That is what is happening right now. And there's something else that is coming up. The Guptas are still wiring money, controlling some of the individuals that are within the system, even though they are not in the country. Wherever they are still doing whatever they were doing when they were in the country. And let's look at the case of Tim Omotoso. That was a high-profile case, and the victims, till today, they didn't get justice. And I still ask myself to this day, how did that mess happen? That a criminal who had been arrested, charged, ends up walking free with serious allegations, and we are talking charges that are more than 30 and counting. Those charges, all of them were dropped, and the guy walked out scot-free. Does that make sense? Is that what we are supposed to be subjected to now? Because the NPA is the one that is failing to deliver when it comes to serious issues like this one. And then there's a case, Yaga Ace Mahashule. Do you remember the Estina dairy farm? The 255 million that was meant for black farmers. The key witness in this case, Murwadi Cholota, her testimony collapsed because of procedural errors within the office that was headed by none other than Shamila Batohi. And that is what you get when you put people who are not competent for the job, and you put people that are going to be like puppets. That's what happens when you put people like that in the office. Everything collapses. We lose everything, and everything becomes a mess. And then there's a case of Shepherd Bushiri. I always ask myself, how can it be so impossible for the NPA to drag Shepherd Bushiri from Malawi to South Africa? Now everything has become political now, because the government in Malawi has taken over the matter, and the South African justice system still wants him this side, which has accounted to the things that he has done, and the guy is never coming back. Those are the failures of the NPA that currently runs the justice system within the country right now. Wabalega nini Shepherd Bushiri? 2020, it's now 2025. The year is almost done. Next year we'll be talking something of about 6 years, and the guy is still not back in the country. And we still have to trust the system, that the system that is in place is the system that is going to work for us, is the system that is going to take us out of this misery that we are in because of Shamila Batohi. Her office has been none other than garbage. It has been silent where it was supposed to have a voice. It had been quiet where it was supposed to make things heard, but it's a lot. Guningi. Now let's connect some of the dots here. The system that runs the country is corrupt. The system that runs the country has been reduced to ashes, and it has become garbage. And if you look at how things are done right now, you'll see Uguti, if you have money, you will never face justice. If you don't have money and you get arrested, your matter is handled very quickly. And the justice that is supposed to be experienced by a lot of us in the country, some of us, we are victims of crime, and the perpetrators are still walking out there free, unharmed, and unbothered. That 45-minute call that was made between those two political heavyweights, it's the very same call that decided the fate of our justice system in the country. And what does Shamila do? She fails to give us the names of the person that is behind the whole thing. And if you ask yourself about this candidate, this favorite candidate from Eastern Cape, who ended up not getting the job for the office of the NPA. Now ask yourself this question. The guy from the Eastern Cape that was a favorite candidate for this job, since he didn't get the job, do you think he didn't get the job because he failed, or he didn't get the job because he refused to become a puppet of those people who are controlling the NPA right now as we speak? The job of Shamila Batohi was just one. Just one. Get rid of Julius Malema and Floyd Shivambu because they were unfiltered, they were outspoken, and at the same time they were unpredictable. That is why the system wanted to get rid of them. Because the plan was, if you can't silence them in parliament, then the only way to silence them is through the court system. And it has been years later. It has been years. There are still no convictions, nothing. The case of VBS Bank has collapsed. Nothing is going on, nothing is moving there. Now, the truth is, the justice system of this country, it has become a weapon for a selected few to control the country and to run the country and to do things as they see fit. The prosecutors are serving the politicians, and everything has become a mess because of the people who are in serious offices that are supposed to be handling things in order. But hey, what do we get? We get people who are incompetent. We get people who mess up everything on purpose because they are serving those who place them in those positions that they are in. Now, la eMzansi, the justice is not blind, but into eyenzekayo ukuthi it is being blindfolded on purpose by a selected few ukuthi ingasebenzi, ukuthi it's a mess what is happening in this country. And if you look at it, NPA may appear independent, but it's not independent. That thing only exists on paper. And that paper means nothing when your job depends on a phone call. Why? Because the justice can't coexist with manipulation. And until we know who made that phone call, we'll never know who runs this country. Even Julius Malema warned Parliament about the NPA. It is a rotten core that was dangerous to the constitution of our country. And what happens? Nothing happens because Shamila Batohi is heading the office and she's allowing those individuals who placed her in that office to control her via the remote and phone calls. And people who are supposed to be doing that job are now nowhere to be found. We are left with this mess that we find ourselves in. Because of Shamila Batohi, the country is in shambles. The justice system has collapsed and the criminals are walking free. No one is being held accountable for the things that are happening. Hey, let me love you and leave you and end this video right here and now. Thank you for being with me up to this far, and from me to you, I'm signing out. Peace. I'll see you on the next one.